Hey, folks. Welcome to the BAMF podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lafferty, and here is our coronavirus chat. We're going to talk about what we're going to be watching, playing, and reading since no one's going out for the next 2.5 weeks. I am here with directly to my right. My right is Chuck Rice. Below me is Aid, and
Hello.
down and to my left is down to my left is Dalton. Sorry, it's a mirror effect with the camera. And introducing my very special guest host, Mike's new fancy.
I get it,
Mike.
Your microphone.
My microphone. So
here's what I'm wondering: do you need the actual boom part of your headset to be there?
No. Not even a little bit.
See,
no.
Look, now you can see your whole face. It's amazing. I never even knew you had.
Goatee.
I never knew you had that goatee before.
Huh?
I'll put it back.
Yeah, it's like we can't even see him anymore.
All right. So, hey, why don't we just jump right into it? I've got this trailer for this Tom Hanks movie that is kind of cool. It's set in World War II, and no one's going to see it because it's coming out this weekend. You guys ready?
Okay.
All right. Share screen. Chrome tab. Share audio. New movie trailers. Share. Life's like a box of chocolates. There we go. Oh, wait, June 12th. Never mind.
Oh, June. Okay, well, you might get away with it then.
No.
Dear Lord, let your holy angel be with me, that the evil foe may have no power over me. Into your hands I commend myself, my body and soul. Amen.
Congratulations on your command.
I'll always be looking for you, Evie.
She's come a long way since Karate Kid.
Yes.
Who is that?
That's Elizabeth Shue.
Oh, I recognize the voice. I couldn't figure out who it was.
Safe travels to England. How many crossings does this make?
This was my first.
Oh snap!
Oh, shit.
I got some.
Most likely a U-boat.
How many combat drops?
Fire!
We have a kill.
Trust rocket, sir.
We have hits directly on the convoy.
The Wolfpack's hunting us.
U-boat, starboard bound!
In 48 hours, we've lost 7 ships and 50 souls.
What you did yesterday got us to today.
It's not enough. Not nearly enough.
Fire as they man!
Wow.
Targets disappeared, sir.
Yeah, big boat weapons are nasty even back then. Holy shit! It's Count Dracula underwater.
Here they come.
What are we gonna do?
We'll rain hell down from on high.
Did that torpedo just scrape the side of their ship and then move on?
Maybe.
So that's kind of like the opposite of The Enemy Below. Remember that Robert Mitchum movie from the 50s? Like you
Right
kind
on.
of, you were like empathizing with both captains. And this one, they're almost playing the Germans. It's like a horror movie, right? Did that remind anybody else of Aliens a little bit?
I don't know about Aliens. It felt like very serial killerish. It's craziness.
What do you think, Chuck? I know you're into World War II stuff.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of World War II as a concept. I
like his early work better. It kind of sold out here lately.
No, the early work was not better because that would be World War One. World War One was definitely not better. I'm into it. It's you so often see it from the submarine side that this notion of oh shit, something's coming. It's it actually kind of reminded me of that scene in Galaxy Quest where he's like, the green thing is headed toward the red thing. I think we're the red thing. So yeah, I'm into it. And did Tom Hanks write this? Did they say?
I thought he was the writer. Yeah.
Wow.
Let me check.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't know he could write either, but that guy from Bosom Buddies, he's talented.
The thing that launched his career.
That would be Mazes and Monsters.
Yeah, that's true.
His true classic magnum opus.
Yep, he wrote the screenplay based on the C.S. Forester novel *The Good Shepherd*.
Nice.
So
I'm actually surprised there hasn't been more war movies with the amount of CGI they use nowadays just on car movies. The idea you can kind of do tanks and planes and without having to find them in and redo them and all this kind of stuff. I'm surprised there's not more of them. I really am. It's such a weird thing.
Have you guys seen Midway?
No,
I wanted to, but I didn't.
No.
Oh my
How was
God,
it?
so good.
All right.
At first it was a little slow to start up, but then like within a few minutes, you just feel the tension of these two countries about to get stupid, and it was just like wow. But the pilots in that, the way they used to have to dive bomb and work with a bombardier in the back of a fighter bomber in order to take out some of these aircraft carriers. I mean, the fact that these guys were just like permanently not able to pass through a metal detector after is just beyond me, because they would basically run down the throat of some of these AA guns and straight, when they talk about dive bombing, these planes just aren't going horizontal over the battle space and then dropping those bombs. What they would do is they would get over the target and then aim the nose of the aircraft straight down and chase the incoming gunfire. And it was just like, you've got to be kidding me. Insane.
You see that trailer?
Yeah. It's
So you realise now. I just said there wasn't that many movies. Midway was last year.
And you had 1917.
1917, exactly. So maybe you do this thing with the resurgence, don't they? You have the westerns, you have the World War II films, and they all come in little cycles of 3 or 4 months at a time. All of them come out in one go. Then you don't do anything for 6 or 7 years, and then there's another load of them. Maybe we're in that period now of World War II stuff.
Right on.
Could be. You guys want to see this trailer?
Hit it.
All right, cool.
The great thing is at the end of the movie, like all the characters in the movie, they tell you like what happened to them after this event.
I figured it was just the usual jitters.
Just like National Lampoons, is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Pretty much.
It's like
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
He was fine to be scared.
But just like Aid was saying, you don't have to recreate like all of this.
Intelligence failure.
You can just use CGI.
This can never happen again. I want to make it right.
At least some of the boys still want to fight.
But yeah, just in case you guys are wondering, the main character is Francis from Deadpool.
Midway.
Nice.
Washington disagrees.
Washington is wrong.
If we lose, the Japanese own the West Coast. Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles.
Yeah, this was good.
Will burn.
We got the order to launch.
We need to throw a punch so they know what it feels like to be hit.
We're talking about a couple dozen planes. It's all Japanese fleet. This isn't a fair fight. I don't know how to lead these men.
Yeah, there were some intense like dogfighting scenes that you don't get in modern military because, people whose main weapons are goats stuffed with explosives don't have access to equipment like this. Yeah, if you guys get a chance to see that, it was actually pretty good, and it was a good balance between the story of like the intervening times between the battles and like the actual battles themselves. You really feel some of the consequences of some of these fights and what it took, and the kind of nerve it took to actually like stay in a combat like that. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it's not even on streaming yet. It was just
No, it
out
is.
late last year. Oh, it is?
Yeah, we
Okay.
bought. Yeah, I liked it so much I bought it. I was like, I added it to my little streaming library.
Notice Midway. All right, so it's on streaming now. You can check it out.
Very cool.
There's not many of those planes left. I mean, you gotta use CGI. Like I think there's like 6 operational, maybe a dozen operational B-25s, and one of them crashed on the East Coast late last year. They were doing rides after a air show. So yeah, CGI.
I actually live within spitting distance of a place that actually houses a load of World War II planes, and every so often you see them go up and they fly. We're near enough to see them fly around every so often, so that's pretty cool.
So what are you guys watching these days? Since we've gone through 2 trailers now.
I just watched that the other day, and then Altered Carbon, the 2nd season.
How is that?
That was good. Another one with a slow start, but once you got into it, it was really good. Anthony Mackie did a great job. He did a really great job. You can definitely tell they what do you call it? They skipped a lot of the second book because some of the second book ended up in the first season. So this was more based on like the third book, and it was very. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. The arc of the AI was the character arc for the AI was for me was like one of the better parts of the season because I loved Poe in the first.
That was my favorite part of that season.
Yeah, and he has a very dynamic arc in this particular season as well, and the fact that he has like a crisis going on. It not only affects him and what he's been, kind of like in his march toward feeling more human, but it affects the people that count on him. So it was really a nice follow up to the initial season. You don't see as much of like the sleeving and the idea of sleeving going on. It more has to do with some of the characters, which I think was a nice back away because it dominated so much of the first season.
Characters?
Yeah.
What kind of radical concept is this?
Yeah, we just want to see people poured out of plastic bags with these chips in their head.
Yeah. I want to see him kill 18 versions of the same naked woman. I mean, tell me it's gotten that at least.
Did you see the interview she did about training for that and fighting naked and stuff like that?
No.
Oh my God, it was so good. If you look it up on YouTube, the actress has a behind the scenes thing where she talks about the training it took to get her ready for that, as well as one of the things they were concerned about was because she was fighting barefoot on a floor, even with like the sugar glass that they use for like, when they show something shattering, they didn't want her feet to get hurt or anything like that. But they were worried about like twisted ankles and stuff like that. Because the more she worked out during the scene, she was, your feet get sweaty. They didn't want her slipping, falling on a hard floor, blah, 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 with no padding. And, so, I mean, there was a lot that actually you would think that, filming a scene naked would be so easy, but it wasn't. There was a lot of concern and a lot of like safety measures that had to go into play in order to keep her safe during that whole thing. I thought that was really interesting from like a stuntman point of view.
Oh, Abe, how about you? What are you watching these days? Abe, how about you? What are you watching these days?
He's watching The Incredible Hulk.
Okay, at least you guys can still hear me. Chuck, talk to us, buddy. What are you into these days? You gaming? You still playing RPGs, or have you self-isolated completely?
Well, okay. I feel like I've been training for this moment my entire life, honestly. All the post-apocalyptic RPGs I've written. I am hunkered and bunkered, and loving it, honestly. But I'm still gaming. And I'm still I'm running Solstice.
Okay.
My players threw me for a loop. The last game was kind of a disaster, but that's how it goes. I've been watching Picard, and it's really good. It's another slow burn. We are in a golden age of television, but we are also in the age of freaking slow burn television, where it's like, no, give us like 4 hours, and then it's going to get really good. Just trust us.
Yeah, because we got 22 episodes to fill.
Yeah,
that's like Netflix Marvel shows. Like, we're gonna have an hour worth of scintillating content jam-packed into about 8 hours.
Like fucking Iron Fist, a show about Kung Fu billionaire, and it's the drama of no one told the sister that the brother was invited to the dinner party. It's like, what is happening? If I wanted to watch 30-something, I would watch 30-something. This is a show about a Kung Fu billionaire. Make it happen, Marvel.
Yeah, the least they could have done was put some Kung Fu in the Kung Fu billionaire.
I don't know how you fuck up a show that badly. I mean, it's if you had asked me before it started, which is going to be the better show, Daredevil or Iron Fist, I'd be like, well, I'm going with the Kung Fu guy. But
you could have done so much with that, though, especially with the immortal weapons of Iron Fist and and all the World War II stuff. Aid, we can hear you again.
Sorry, yeah, I had to step away for 2 seconds. Yeah, yes.
That's why Aid doesn't want video. When he gets tired of us, he just fucking walks away.
Yes,
a man walks alone. Aid just walks out of the room.
That's all I need. Yes, but yeah, you're right. Immortal Weapons was fantastic. But yeah, that series of Iron Fist was so good with all the past Iron Fist and that kind of stuff. But
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say no. Picard is. I'm way into seeing Seven, honestly, more than seeing Picard. I'm honestly more interested in what she's up to.
Is there a reason for that, or just because it's her?
She's running around space calling herself a ranger. So, I'm like, yes, I want to see a liberated Borg Space Ranger 7 of 9. And then I'm way into Rios, one of the new characters, who is their kind of smuggler captain, who is on a ship crewed exclusively by hologram versions of himself.
Oh, that's weird.
Every station is manned by a hologram, and they're all him, but they all have different accents. So engineering him has a Scottish accent because, of course
he does.
Yeah. His emergency medical hologram has like a posh British accent. Like it's kind of ridiculous in a way that I'm really into.
Right on.
That is kind of cool. All right. Did you know we're doing a special Picard review show?
We do now.
Yeah. It's BAMF Nights with Jason Tondro. He and Aid Nights. He and it's like Baywatch Nights. It's a sophisticated version.
Okay.
He's nothing like it at all.
When you tell me it's BAMF Nights, I think it's going to be hot and steamy.
Yeah, no.
It is like, no.
The description I tried to give it to myself is it's two academics and an idiot talk Star Trek Picard. Is what I did do it. So, yeah, me being the idiot.
Which one are you, Aid?
Yeah, I'm the idiot. I'm like an academic in any way or form. Yeah.
Well, it's Jason Tondro, his buddy from Riverside College in California, Jim Seals, and Aid talking about Picard.
It would be better if you were in character, like if you were playing an academic and Jason was playing an idiot. I would be more into that, but I guess I'll settle for you guys being yourselves.
Yeah, but yeah, Picard's been good. Picard has been. I've enjoyed Picard. But like you say, every single part of the podcast, it's like they've only got 3 more episodes to get the story done. How are they gonna squeeze it all in? It's so slow. This episode did nothing. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and then like the last 2, like Discovery, I feel like does this too. It's like slow burn, and then all of a sudden there's an episode that's like balls to the wall and has like 8 episodes worth of plot to where they're just like, no transitions. We're not even wiping this. You just have to figure out that we're like 5,000 years in the past now. Just figure it out.
It's cool. Good though. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of cool and good stuff, Aid, I was looking forward to talking to you about this. What did you think of some of the artwork which I thought the artwork was great. But what did you think of some of the artwork and the story idea coming out of the new Juggernaut comic coming out soon?
Oh, I don't know. It's characters. It's one of them characters I do like. Again, I just don't know if he can sustain a series. I'd like to know what they're going to do with him.
Well, just because the what do you call it? In issue 2, he fights the Hulk.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I saw that coming. Yeah, so it's like, oh, now you've made me want to buy it. Yeah. But yeah, I think look, the artwork I saw of it was pretty nice from what I saw. My issue at the moment seems to be Marvel just chucking every single X-Man to the wall and seeing which one sticks so they can get an issue out of him. And that's the only problem I got. So, but yeah, I might check it out. If nothing else, probably wait till a trade comes out for it. I don't know is it an ongoing or a mini series? I'm not too
I think it's a mini.
Yeah,
I want to say it's a mini.
Maybe a trade wait for it.
I mean, yeah. I just thought that was such a neat idea to have him fight the Hulk, and just my RPG brain started twisting and turning, and I'm like, what would be really cool? A series of adventures where you play through the archetypes of different characters in an RPG, superhero RPG. So like one adventure is all bricks, so like you gotta hack into the building. He just punches the door off. Screw the alarm. We have to get mind powers in order to find out what the bad guy is doing. You have one brick, jump in the middle of a bunch of bad guys, beat them all up, and squeeze the guy's brain until he tells you what you want to know. I mean, like brick applications for handling everything. And then the next time it's all speedsters, and then the next time it's all like trick archers, where they're all trying to outdo each other with trick arrows and stuff like that. And you got that one guy that just keeps pulling a gun. I think that would be a fun series of adventures.
Cool.
To me, picturing an RPG fight between the Hulk and Juggernaut just sounds like torture. Okay, guys,
for the GM,
you have 3,000 hit points, and every time one of you hits the other, he does 1 point of damage. Go. 12 hours later, he's like, well, he's at 50%. I'm winning.
Right on. Oh, the new Hawkeye you were talking about.
Yeah, I'm having a good time with this one. It's one of those Marvel books where it's lots of Marvel characters hanging out together, quipping, and lots of one-liners.
Why is he dressed like the Hood?
Because he's punching the Hood. He shows up. The Hood's having like an open call for new henchmen, and Hawkeye shows up and beats everybody up.
Awesome.
Did they advertise for these fuckers on Craigslist? I mean, how does that work?
I think it was something like that. Yeah. Oh, sexy times. Hang on. Let's move past that.
Have you ever, Chuck? Have you ever read the comic Hench Girl?
No.
Yeah, we had.
I love it already.
Yes, it's. I'll shoot you the link. We interviewed the writer / artist for it a couple years ago. Just absolutely amazing book. It's about a young girl trying to make her way in the city as the villains, one of the premier villain henchmen. Oh, it's really good.
I mean, I feel like all female-led series eventually either become Sex in the City or Mary Tyler Moore, right? So this sounds like it's Mary Tyler Moore.
Except Domino.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. With her, attempting to kill like a superhero. But
did you read the last Domino series that Marvel put out? Oh my God, it was so good.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of book where Clinton Barton's eating an omelet at a restaurant, and hey, look who just happens to show up. It's the Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's that kind of Marvel book.
Well, they got to prep for the Disney Plus series.
Exactly.
They do. There's actually a Winter Soldier Falcon series right now, but it's kind of terrible. So I'm not talking about that. Well, it's quality is so uneven in comics. I mean, even from the big companies, it's really, really hard to say.
Okay, wait a minute, hold on. That's Ronin. Why is Ronin there when Ronin was Hawkeye? What's going on?
There's a new Ronin.
Do you care if I spoil it for you?
It's Kate Bishop.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Think of something much dumber but funnier.
It's Howard the Duck.
Life model decoy.
Oh
right.
No.
Okay.
All right,
of course it is.
Hold on, I got to do this. Fuck you, Marvel.
Okay. LMDs, right? Interesting.
Yeah, it's he's trying to pull a con on the Hood, so it's an LMD, and he's having the LMD go after the Hood's business, and then something happens with the LMD, I forget, and he has for a while. It's been like 3 different dudes. For a while, it was time traveling Hawkeye, and then there was the LMD, and currently in the last issue, it was a Skrull who owed Hawkeye a favor. So
All right,
it's
hang on. I don't want to engage in hyperbole here, but Marvel has completely gone to utter dog shit.
well, but they're playing it for laughs in this book, and it works. You know, if it was a mini series where they were trying to be very serious and everybody had hammers, I would agree with you. But they're kind of having fun with it in this one, and because they're playing it for laughs, I'm enjoying it. But yeah, I could see your point because there's been a lot of crazy bullshit.
You know, Marvel. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree.
Just said the words "time traveling Hawkeye." What are we even talking about right now?
I recently checking out some of the solicits that's going on because I was a big fan of the recent Star Wars series of comics. They just did a really, really, really good job. And then in this,
like that
I
Darth
guess,
Vader comic.
What is it?
That Darth Vader comic.
Oh, yeah, and both
that was actually a good comic.
Yeah, the original Darth Vader, the second volume, which is the one they just finished. But like in the new Darth Vader volume and the new Star Wars volume, I'm just not feeling it like I was because I mean they show like it's supposed to take place in between Empire and Jedi, and they show what happens to Luke's lightsaber and Bespin. You know, and just the outcome of what supposedly happened, I was like, "What? Wait, why?" You know, and
is
then
is it like Pulp Fiction? Does the lightsaber pass through like 18 different people's hands?
No, it was
whom cut off their own arm with it while fucking around with it.
Well, you know, obviously, you know, we got to say spoilers because the comic is relatively new, but the what do you call it in the comic? At the end of the comic, you know, you see, you know, Luke's remembering getting his hand cut off. And the lady from the first of the new movie fanfics, whatever they are,
right?
Yeah, Maz Kanata. She's like, oh well, you know, this is how I ended up with it, and she's telling the story of how the lightsaber came to her,
right?
And there just so happened to be under one of the pivotal battles of the what do you call it of the Star Wars franchise, that Bespin fight. There just happened to be somebody dressed as a Jedi underneath to catch the lightsaber as it fell.
What?
Yeah.
Right.
So did the Jedi have like a lightsaber retrieval team? Because I would be into that. Thinking. It would be like damage control, but with Jedi, where they're like,
because they're always losing their lightsaber. It's that one guy who has to keep going to get them. It's like, dude, 4th time this month, please.
We have to keep these primitive screwheads from dismembering themselves.
Oh my god!
While they try to learn how to use it.
Is that could have been a good story?
Yes,
that could have been like Skywalker saber is found by Ugnaught, and then it goes through this, and then and you see how this lightsaber is transferred from A to B to C to D, and all the trouble it causes, and all this kind of stuff ends up in thingy given to Rey. That would have been a good story. A Jedi that happens to be underneath them where they're having a lightsaber fight and catches it just seems to be what the hell? What?
Well, you know, that's where they have the exiled, you know, Jedi in hiding convention. Just happens to be on the surface of Bespin.
And that's the other thing too. In the Vader comic, they're kind of they were supposed to be going into the whole what the death of Padme Amidala meant to him, but I couldn't even get I couldn't get past what they're doing. I don't.
No, I'm sorry. George Lucas covered that with eloquent beauty. What it meant to him was no.
You know, but like in the second issue, I was just like, what? Why?
Well, yeah, they could never top that writing, so why would they even try? I mean,
and it's such a tragedy because, like, you know, you have this series that is written by some of the and curated by some of the same people that wrote the first Vader series, and that Vader Down like segment of the whole thing. Excuse me. The if you've never read Vader Down, it's one of those comics you really should go out to get because it's just really well done and really portrays what that particular person became when he put on that mask. And I think one of the most pivotal scenes in that whole thing is when he's surrounded by an entire battalion of resistance fighters, and they're like, we got you now because we have artillery and robots and you're surrounded, and he just sits there and ignites his lightsaber, and I still get chills every time I read the line or even say it out loud. All I'm surrounded by is fear and dead men. I was like, yes, that is how you write a thrilling character like that, and to have what's going on now, you're just like, ugh.
I think Star Wars at its best when it undersells its emotional moments. I think it's an action space western, and you lean into that. I mean, yeah, Luke loses his adoptive parents, to stormtroopers. There's a sad scene where he stares at the suns as they set, and then he goes off on his adventure. And I think that's just little doses, and then you move on with the story. But I just wanted to point this out, and no one else gives a shit. But D-Man.
Oh yeah,
D-Man is in the latest issue.
Now here's the thing that I want to know, because I thought that one of the coolest things about D-Man back in the day is that Demolition Man had a heart condition that he had to always watch out for in the comics. Does he still have that arrhythmia that he's got to take meds for and all that other junk?
It's not covered at all in this book, so I really couldn't tell you. I mean,
I just thought that was interesting as hell, because in one of the old Captain Americas, he's helping with something, and he's like lifting this heavy piece of debris, and he puts it down, and he's like having heart palpitations, and he's like, "No, I just got to take my meds. I got to take my meds." And they're arguing with him like, you weren't supposed to come back this soon, and it's like that's interesting stuff.
Well, something interesting and unique about a character, that's not what Marvel does.
Well, I thought he was actually dead for a while.
What?
I was just
I thought he died.
Yeah.
At some point, but again,
well, I mean, the whole Green Lantern Corps died, and then they were suddenly just kind of walked sideways back into frame, and never talked about.
But they got better.
Yeah, they got better. And here is Hawkeye and
U.S.
John
agent
Walker are trading insults. I don't know why this made me laugh, but he turns his back, and Hawkeye shoots him in the back of the head, knocks him out. That just.
If you just now totally sold me. I'm hearing about fucking time traveling Hawkeye being Ronin, and I'm like, what the fuck? Anytime you want to show me U.S. agent getting shot in the back of the head, I will buy your comic.
Yeah.
You hear that, Marvel? You could do a 100-issue limited series of Hawkeye where it's just him shooting U.S. agent in the back of the head at the end of every issue, and it's a different story about how they get to the point where he shoots U.S. agent in the back of the head. I would read that comic. Kind
of like Mr. T and the A-Team. Yeah, they always knock him out. You're not sure how, but all right. So here is Hawkeye arguing with the Skrull who's trying to be Ronin. Then the Life Model decoy is also dressed up as Ronin, happens to show up. And hijinks ensue. And actually, Hawkeye decides he's sick of the LMD, so he shoots him through the eye. So they have to dump the body.
So this era we're currently in of Marvel, and going back a couple of months as well, this reminds me of 1985 D&D, where everything kind of had that kind of jokey element to it. It's like, we're trying to do Lord of the Rings, for God's sake. Stop giving me Troll Hatton in Mystara. And this seems to be very similar to this. It's like, yeah, we're trying to do Spider-Man, but Deadpool's really popular. Oh, okay, well, everything's got to be slightly funny now. And you go, okay. And it's such a weird thing. I mean, I don't know if they're trying to appeal to mainstream audiences or trying to get more people in where they go, well, superheroes are too stupid. Oh, yeah, but we know that. That's why we're doing it. Or they're just, I don't know. It's just a weird thing. I mean, we're not quite, we had Squirrel Girl, we had all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
We had
the golden age of comics. And then we had the Silver Age of comics, and then the Bronze Age, and then the Iron Age. I think we're in the government cheese era of comics right now, honestly, is where we're at.
The garbage age?
No, it's edible, it's palatable, but you don't want it.
Not when there's better stuff out there.
Government cheese.
That's like I just backed on Kickstarter, Godhood Comics Galactic Patrol Delta #1. It looks so good and so cheesy. I can't wait. So it's basically about like a special like a SWAT team, a galactic SWAT team that has to handle like high-end crimes around the Milky Way galaxy, because of course when humans
sounds awesome,
right? For $5 I'm in, right? So
Galactic SWAT.
Galactic Patrol Delta is the name of the Kickstarter. So the artwork is a lot of fun. It's very reminiscent of Star Powers artwork. They got all sorts of different races. The lion-headed alien that's kind of like one of their bosses is really cool. Some of the enemy agents are just really, and aliens look really cool. I was like, that's fun comics. I really hope it funds. So I want to interview the guys that do it too. Yep, that's it. Yep.
Oh, I just started. They're brand.
Yeah.
You're one of the 14 backers. Okay.
Yep. I think I was like the 4th or 5th backer.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, the artwork was
GPD.
Galactic Patrol Delta.
Yeah.
Right. It's good stuff. I mean, that's fun comics. We had we talked before to what do you call it? God, wow, my brain is spacing today. Galactic Trash Collectors. Oh my God, it's good. Bob Sally's comic book. Oh my
Nice.
God. I can't remember the name. It's going to bother me. But like that kind of stuff is fun. Like some of the stuff coming out of Noble Comics is really fun. I mean, there's so much good stuff that people never see because the word doesn't get out there, and they don't have they don't have the reach.
Well, it's not the big two. Like there are and look, I understand how this works. I've been making indie RPGs for like 20 years. They're just like there are a lot of people that never are going to look at anything that isn't produced by Wizards of the Coast or maybe Paizo if they're super adventurous, that aren't going to read anything that isn't by the big two.
Yeah.
I run into a lot of people who the RPG is a thing they do with their friends, on the weekend, and they have no idea there's even an RPG scene online, or there's places online to buy, PDFs. It never comes up because those are the books the DM owns, and it just, it's nothing that ever happens. So,
but
go ahead.
Stuff like at the moment, I'm going through again. I've mentioned it before in the podcast. I'm still buying more epic collection stuff from the 70s and 80s than I am new stuff because the new stuff just doesn't appeal. I've literally just got Batman 88, 89 last week, which is the Punchline first issue where it's gone up to a gazillion quid because some new character's been introduced, even though she's literally in it for a panel. But it's just like, I read the first one, I read 88, and it was like the entire plot was basically like, oh my God, there's some big secret conspiracy Batman, and all the villains got together to do this massive thing that you didn't know about, and it's been going for 5 years, and you go, we've seen this before. And 89, I cannot even be asked to read 89 because this is just horseshit. I've seen it.
Isn't that what the Court of Owls was?
Well, yeah, exactly. So eventually, I put off reading 89 for another two or 3 days. I thought, right, okay, I'll give it a try, and I read it, and it's like nothing. It's nothing to this. It's just so inconsequential. It's just such.
Did I fall into a coma for 15 years? How the fuck is this like the big thing?
The thing is, the thing is with Batman, right? I was looking this up the other day. I've been collecting Batman comics for 28 years. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's getting to the situation now is where it's issue 89. I'm thinking if I can make it to 100 and they cancel it, I can drop Batman, and I can because it's just like this is just nuts, and I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if it's because I've been reading it so long with like you're seeing the same stories pop up, and they're trying to do new things with the villains, or they're just using particular villains. Because like at the end of 88, who shows up to save Catwoman at the end of issue 88? Harley Quinn. That's surprising, isn't it? And you go, what a shocker! And it's just like this is not, and it always seems to be Joker, Harley Quinn. Nobody else gets a look in anymore. If you think to back in the day, we had Nightfall. You think where it had obviously Azrael has been a brand new character. This is not a character that's been used before. The No Man's Land stories, all this kind of stuff. We don't get that anymore. Even like Tom King's run for obviously the 86 or 85 issues that went through. Issue 85 was just like what? That was it. Was it? Is that finished now? What was that all about?
I believe it is. Yeah.
And it's just
he was cut short actually.
Yes, but the thing is, I'd like to know because they've got a 12-issue Catwoman Batman series coming up, and I don't know if that storyline is going to continue because it did seem to kind of like end. Or
that was his consolation prize. He got cut off like 15 issues short, and they're like, "Hey, we gave you this miniseries. You can finish up your Batman, Catwoman plotline over there."
It just seems so weird. But I mean, the thing is that that's Batman, right? So I also, again, I don't want to tell anyone's thunder, but and talk about crap. Hellblazer reboot, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely brilliant. Just as good as the Vertigo stuff, not the crappy DC New 52 reboot, which died its arse after about 2 issues. But Hellblazer is really, really good. And
isn't this the one where he is like a white rapper from Mississippi or something?
Pardon?
No, it's not that one, Mike.
You've been reading a different Hellblazer, really. No,
yeah.
The thing they did with Hellblazer was they basically time traveled him back to his younger self, and kind of from the Vertigo version of himself, and kind of rebooted his life. And there's the first issue, there's like all these conflicting timelines versions, including the New 52 version, the Sandman version, those kind of stuff. So basically, he just goes, okay, what's going on? And it would appear that the Vertigo version, that's really, really old at the end of the Vertigo version, is also trying to con him into doing stuff as well. So it's got all these kind of like multiple mystical dimension stuff going on. But that is really, really good. But the best thing I've been reading from Marvel recently is Tarot, which is Alan Davis written stuff, because it's a miniseries. It feels like an old style Marvel comic. It's like, what's going on this way? Well, the Avengers and the Defenders are trying to fight this bad guy, and then another bad guy shows up. It's like, okay, that's good. Is there any stuff about current day politics or stuff about nothing about that? No, it's heroes and villains. That's it. We're not worried about all this kind of crap. We just want to talk about heroes and villains, which is like the old style hero stuff used to be. Yeah. It's nice to get escapism from everyday stuff. Yeah, the idea it's like, okay, what's going to happen in this, and it's one of those cool series where they've kind of done other bad guys that aren't strictly Avengers and Defenders villains. So you see, so it's kind of like feels like again like they're drawing from the whole of the Marvel universe rather than just going, well, you can't fight that guy. Well, you're not a Spider-Man villain, so you can't fight Spidey. But it's such a good series. It's really, really good. But yeah. So
I was unaware of that, so that is good to know.
Definitely worth reading. It's only 4 issues long. So if you can't pick it up, get a trade. But it's set in that era. It's set in the kind of like late 70s, early 80s era, and it reads like it. And again, we don't have to worry about people being excluded for whatever reason, or worrying about it. It's just a genuinely good superhero story, and it's not.
So
like the way they construct these comics now, they're like, well, you can't use Dr. Doom because I'm using Dr. Doom. But meanwhile, Wolverine can be in every Marvel comic simultaneously. Fuck off, Marvel.
Well, I mean, you have to understand, Wolverine exists in a quantum potentiality. There are any number of multiple Wolverines existing in this timeline.
Well, this is the biggest problem DC have got now, isn't it? At the moment, is that they did Doomsday Clock, which kind of like retconned Ma and Pa Kent into existence, but in the Superman comic they were still dead until the issue they showed up again with no explanation. And it's like and the Flash 750 has apparently got like multiple timeline stuff going on, and Titans has got like 2 versions of the Teen Titans coexisting at the same point in time but consisting of different characters, and they're basically saying, I can explain exactly how that works. You go, what? They should have stopped and started again with Doomsday Clock and say, right, okay, everything. But they're kind of like they're trying to jam all this stuff together, and everything, and some stuff's kind of not quite working because oh shit, we need that character. Damn it, they're dead in that one. Right, bring them back.
Hang on. Have you guys heard the rumor that if this G5 doesn't work for DC, Warner Brothers is wanting to,
pull the plug on DC Comics?
Pull the plug on DC Comics, outsource everything, just go down to, skeleton crew, pushing out, Batman, Superman, and everything else kind of gets, outsourced or whatever.
This is the thing. I'm a sucker for that. They a couple of months ago, they just did the complete history of the Marvel Universe miniseries, 6th issue. And I love that stuff because when they starters, they kind of do little stuff. And then in the back, you've got like all the issues where the actual stuff happened. It's like, they actually give a shit about Marvel history. And I'm hoping that this G5 one shots they do are going to go, okay, this is the new timeline. This is stuff that happened, and you'll be able to see where it happened because this is going to refer to Nightfall, and this is what happened in Nightfall, and this is going to refer to No Man's Land. This is going to happen, and I'm hoping they do that. the only problem I get to that is if they do the thing where they go, okay, by the way, Generation 5, everyone's going to be replaced with someone new, and you go, whoa, that's the thing I'm kind of worried about.
Well, okay.
Well, nothing could go wrong. Marvel basically, DC has basically hired all the Marvel writers that completely caused Marvel to implode. So nothing could go wrong with this, right? It's Fraction, it's Bendis, it's Brubaker, right?
Yeah.
So nothing could go wrong. They've got all the only one of the dead man's hand that they're missing is Jonathan Hickman, who is busily ruining the X-Men while remaining at Marvel. So, once he tanks the X-Men, he'll be able to go to work for DC, and the circle will be complete, and they can ruin another comic company.
But that was the weird thing about the X-Men. The two miniseries, House of X and Power of 10, were brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely fantastic miniseries. And then the first issue of X-Men, you go, okay, great, this is going to be really good. No, they stand around and chat for an hour, and then they go on. And they go, what? We just had multiple timelines. Nimrod the Sentinel, all this kind of stuff going on, nothing about that at all. And I think by like the third or fourth issue of X-Men, it's like, yeah, they're fighting some old ladies that don't like the X-Men. And you go, okay, yeah.
That is my experience with Jonathan Hickman comics in general. They start off and you're like, this is going to be the greatest comic of all time. That's how his Fantastic Four run started. And then you get about 12 issues into it and you're like, nope, I'm sorry, I was wrong. This is dumb.
Because this is what I've
done. I don't know
done.
what I was thinking before.
They've got the 4-issue Fantastic Four X-Men miniseries, and so what I'm kind of doing is at the moment with the whole X-Men thing, rather than buying a gazillion X books, I'm kind of like got the House of 10 books, then the X-Men versus Fantastic Four miniseries to kind of like catch up with what's happened in that part, and then apparently got this Sword of 10 of Swords miniseries coming up as well. I'll probably get that as well, and you just kind of just fill in the gaps between them without buying $500 worth of X-Men comic books, and that's probably the easiest way of doing it. So, but yeah.
Yeah, and then you'll be mostly caught up. If you buy $500 worth of floppies, you'll be mostly caught up.
Yeah. And
again,
sorry.
Oh, I got to wrap it up. It's 1:00. I got to get back to work. So.
Okay, just one before you go. I just want to say for Marvel, go and read Immortal Hulk because it's fantastic. Every time we ever talk about comics, I have to mention how damn good Immortal Hulk is because it's bloody fantastic.
Yeah.
Right on.
All right, cool.
Want to carry us out, Mike?
Anybody got closing thoughts before I hit the button?
Go and read Immortal Hulk.
Go find some indie comics.
Chuck, can we just sum up your thoughts at the moment as fuck Marvel and move on?
Everything is awesome. I feel like I've been super negative today. So I'll just close with that. Try to reconcile that with the last hour as you will.
All right. Walt, how about you?
Go buy indie comics and go buy Chuck's new OSR supplement.
Yeah, is that you just had one come out, didn't you, Chuck? Like last week.
Awesome that Walt would be the one who thinks to mention it, not me. That explains so many things about my career right there in a nutshell. I just released a little book. It's about 5 pages long called Monster Modifiers. It's going to give you a ton of help. Basically, it's got some wait for aid. It's got some tables that you can basically just modify a monster on the fly by rolling a couple of dice. It tells you how to modify their XP, and you can turn a regular goblin into a 3-headed fire-breathing goblin in about 2 minutes. So it's just a thing to help game masters when their players decide to go left when they wanted them to go right.
And it's on Dive Through RPG right now. You can see the cover there with some art by Rick Hershey, and that's available right now. Oh, and if we're talking RPG stuff, I am currently having my Mocking the Irish Stereotype holiday sale, which is completely inadvertently going on at the same time with the GM's Day sale. So we're double dipping on discounts. So you're not going anywhere anyway. So go to the Fainting Goat storefront on Drive Through RPG and save a whole bunch of money on RPGs. And that's how you can while away the time until the plague passes. So, and again, thanks for checking out the BAMF podcast. We'll catch you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers. And we're out.